We can learn a lot about God by looking at creation. And when we look at creation, we see that God is a missionary God. If you look behind me, you'll see all these kind of little flowery things that have come to sort of seed time. And if I shake this, you can see kind of all the seeds coming off of this, kind of floating through the air. And these seeds from this plant are going to go off and they're going to find a new sort of habitat, and then they're going to grow up next year into new plants. As I look on the ground, I can find little seeds as well. You see this one, when I drop it, it becomes like a little helicopter and spins around, and it blows in the wind, and it finds somewhere new. And some of them are going to become new trees. And if I come over here, you'll see, if you look behind me, let's have a look in here, we've got the brambles. So even the brambles are doing the same thing. And you can see all the blackberries on here. So here's a blackberry. And you know the kind of thing about blackberries and raspberries is that you eat them, and what happens? The seeds, they get stuck in my teeth anyway. The idea of these blackberries is that a bird comes along and eats them. It flies off to somewhere new, and then when it needs to go to the toilet, the seeds come out, and that acts as fertilizer so that new brambles can grow up. And so when we look at nature, we can see that God is a missionary God. It says when God created the earth, he created every kind of plant, seed-bearing plant, with seed in it that reproduced according to its own kind. And it says also that we are the seed of Abraham, the seed of Jesus Christ, and that we should be reproducing according to our kind. That Jesus is sometimes called the holy seed, or the seed of a woman within the Bible. And so the idea is that we should be reproducing. That Jesus says, that the seed that fell on good soil, it reproduced 30, 60, or 100-fold would have been sown. Now, when you go into Tesco, I talked about the seeds in the raspberries getting stuck in my teeth. You'll notice probably when you buy some grapes and you eat through them, there's no seeds in them. The grapes are made to taste very sweet. They're very nice to eat, and they've got no seeds. The seeds in grapes normally taste a little bit bitter if you actually bite down on them. And also recently, if you bought a watermelon, you may find that there's starting to do the same things with watermelons with no seeds or tiny seeds inside them. And sometimes this is what churches have become like. Just the sweet stuff, but no seeds in it, no seeds. We've got these two kind of contradictory models of evangelism. One where Jesus sends out somebody as a sort of a seed into some new ground, and they speak to tens, 20s, hundreds of people sharing their faith. And the reverse of this is where we get 100 or 200 Christians, and we invite 1 or 2 people who are not Christians into the middle of this gathering in the hope that some sort of Christianity somehow rubs off on them. And it is biblical to bring people into church. That it's expected that people who don't believe will sometimes come in. Paul says this. He says, like, if somebody comes into your service and everybody's prophesying, then the secrets of that person's heart will be laid bare, and he'll cry out that God is really among you. And so it's not that we want to shut people out of our services. It's not that we want them to be secret. But the real heart of evangelism, the real center of evangelism, is out there in the world. Jesus said, "Go into all the world, preach the gospel to all of creation, and whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned." And then he says that these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name, they will drive out demons. They will lay their hands on sick people and they will recover. And they'll drink deadly poison and it will not harm them. He says, go, I will be with you. Surely I'm going to be with you, even to the end of the age. Jesus, he talked about the parable of the lost sheep, and he said, that he is out there. He's out there in the field searching for the lost. And it says that he left the sheep that were sort of safe just in the open pasture. And sometimes it can feel in a church that you'd expect it to be the very center of a church building, the very center of where God is at work. But actually, sometimes it's like he's left. He's out there in people's homes. He's out there talking, sharing with people, and waiting for somebody to come and to bring that message and to confirm what he's already doing in people's lives. So I really encourage you today to pray for yourself and say, God, where am I on my Christian journey? Am I one of those people that is just attending church? I've been here like longer than 3 years. I've not really matured into somebody who is sharing my faith. God, help me. God, use me. God, if there's sin in my life, clean it up so that I can be a clean vessel, good fit for a noble purpose. If I need training, bring me people that will train me. Send the people that will help me. If I have everything I need and I just need the courage to go, then give me that courage. Jesus said, whoever is not gathering, after seed time comes the harvest. And he said, whoever does not gather with me is really scattering. And you may be thinking that just by going to church and singing songs and listening to the Bible, that you're really in there with Jesus. You and Jesus, we just like that together. But Jesus, he says, if you don't love your brother who you can see, if you don't care that the people around you are on their way to hell, and you have the answer to that, then how can you claim to love God whom you can't see? So I really want to encourage you to really examine your life, examine your heart. Are there things that you need to repent of? Do you need to ask God to give you a heart of compassion for the lost? I know we see very little evangelism going on in our nation, so this is something that affects loads of Christians. But don't think because there's so many other people living this kind of seedless grape Christian life that it's okay for you to do the same thing. You're going to have to talk to Jesus on Judgment Day. He's going to ask you, what did you do with the life that I gave you, the mouth I gave you, the skills that I gave you? How did you use them? And so really think about this now, rather than being caught short and being embarrassed when you speak to Jesus on that final day.